Not so long ago, JetBlue Flight 385 landed at the Grantley Adams International Airport, direct from the Hollywood International Airport in Fort Lauderdale. The flight was significant as it was the start of a new daily service from Fort Lauderdale to Barbados. Prior to takeoff, the atmosphere at the Hollywood International Airport in Fort Lauderdale was very festive.
I'm going now to enjoy it, and I hope that you tell everyone. So you're going to get on your Twitter and your Facebook and everything and tell them JetBlue is headed to Barbados.
I also like to say, what a journey. What a journey from where we started. Just about 14,000 seats a year back all the way in 2009. And we have double, triple, quadruple, and keep going. We started out of JFK. And we have now moved that service from JFK to Boston. We've added the Mint service out of Boston, out of JFK, and here we are in Fort Lauderdale.
But when I come here, there's nothing more enjoyable than either announcing a new JetBlue service or bringing a new JetBlue service. And it goes without saying, on behalf of all 18,000 crew members at JetBlue, how happy we are to bring the first inaugural flight from Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport to Barbados today. For too long, the citizens of Barbados and the residents of South Florida have suffered from very high fares between here and Barbados, and we are definitely going to help change that.
The festivities continued during the flight to the Grantley Adams International Airport. Key officials from Florida and Barbados were on board, including Chairman of JetBlue Robin Hayes, officials from Broward County, and the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated. Barbadians and non-nationals alike waved the Barbados flag in the air and participated in a number of fun activities.
It's 8A. Who's in 8A? Let's go take the card there.
JetBlue's inaugural flight was part of the strategic plan being implemented by the United States Office of the Barbados Tourism Management Incorporated, which is headed by Petra Roach. Ms. Roach, who took up the job of Director of the U.S. Office in January 2015, explains that the plan is designed to make Barbados's tourism sector more competitive.
Again, coming into a new market, I did an audit of what it was that we needed to change in terms of our strategic approach to ensure that Barbados got the share of voice that it needed. And against the many destinations that are competing against us, I thought that we needed to look at improvement in terms of the airlift into Barbados, looking at better accessibility, looking at more affordable fares, and also in terms of the personality of Barbados. I think people positioned us as one of the islands, so it was about building out a personality for Barbados, looking at the niches where we have competitive advantage and going after that. At the end of the day, in the US, we've got 323 million people, the pool of which we can choose for visitors. Barbados is a small destination. At the end of the day, we've got 6,000 rooms that we have in terms of accommodation in the traditional sector, and then more and more we've got Airbnb properties coming on board, and obviously people staying with friends and family. So we haven't got to go with that mass market approach. Ultimately, we want a qualified visitor. We want a visitor who is going to enjoy their experience in Barbados. We want a visitor who is going to come time and time again and therefore improve our repeat clientele. And we want a visitor who ultimately will become an ambassador for Barbados. So in terms of the approach, what we've done is looked at strategic partnerships with people like Billabong, looked at strategic partnerships with people like the Brooklynette, and used them really as the vehicle through which we can tell the Barbados story.
The Fort Lauderdale market was chosen partly because of its economic viability and strong Barbadian diaspora.
In terms of the airlift, obviously you were on the Fort Lauderdale flight, and that for us was a very strong strategic move, because at the end of the day, the South Florida market is a very, very economically viable market. We've got a large diaspora there as well, but again, you've got communities of people, a lot of whom actually are retired and therefore are very time wealthy, who enjoy doing things like the polo, like the sailing, etc. Golfing is massive in South Florida. So we've also looked to capitalise on those specific niches and invite people to come and join us for their holidays.
The decision is backed by an aggressive marketing campaign to get persons into this country.
We've also had a lot of airtime in the South Florida area. We just recently completed a set of programs which ran for a week, which was on the most popular television station called NBC 6 in the Lakes, where we talked not just about Barbados as a leisure destination, but certainly as the culinary capital of the Caribbean. We talked about Pop-Over Festival, which every year just improves and becomes much more rich and colourful in its offering. We talked about the history, again, very, very important element, so that did exceedingly well for us.
Ms. Roach also highlighted the fact that Barbados and the United States had a shared history, some of which led to the development of a number of tourist attractions in Barbados. She indicated that this was a part of the package being used to attract persons in the U.S. market to Barbados.
Out of the US, there is a lot of history with Barbados that traditionally we haven't really capitalised on. We've got the George Washington story, we've got the Treaty of Oistins, which actually influenced the American Declaration of Independence. We've got governors who came from Barbados, who founded Charleston in South Carolina. We've got governors who were in Massachusetts. We've got people who are very enthusiastic about polo, who are enthusiastic about sailing, about the whole UNESCO heritage story. We've got people who are into a culinary and Epicurean experience. So Barbados has all these wonderful assets that, rather than just promoting based on sun, sand and sea, which of course is extremely important, we then go a step further and develop a relationship with those people where we know we've got the competitive advantage.
Even though flights from Fort Lauderdale to Barbados are designed to attract more visitors to this country, the idea is also for Barbadians to find it equally appealing to travel to Fort Lauderdale.
Greater Fort Lauderdale, as you might know, continues to have a growing appeal from the Caribbean, not only from our diverse local population, but also for business travel from the region. With more than 240,000 residents from the Caribbean living here in Broward County, this new route provides the perfect, easily accessible option for people visiting friends and family. And you know, we know from our research that the #1 motivator outside of the beach that people come to any destination is to visit friends and family, so we're delighted about that. We know this flight's going to be a success, especially with the amazing cultural events that have taken root in places like Miramar and Lauderdale, events like the One Caribbean Music Festival, the Cricket CPL T20, and the upcoming 3rd annual Caribbean Style Week.
Barbados' tourist officials partnered with their counterparts in Fort Lauderdale to show Barbadians a bit of what South Florida has to offer. In addition to shopping malls like Sawgrass Mills or Westfield Broward, persons can travel along the famous Millionaire's Row in a water taxi. Or they can visit the city of Lauderdale, where they can attend shows at the Lauderdale Performing Arts Center, or catch a game of cricket at the only CPL-approved cricket ground in the United States.
It's a Central Ground Regional Park and Stadium, and it was initially built as a cricket stadium 8.5 years ago.
We are an all-America city, which means that we're basically an all-inclusive city. We are all from someplace else, and being an all-America city means that we celebrate all cultures. Going back now probably to the year, let's go back now to maybe like the year 2000, maybe 1999. We had a consul general from Barbados named Ben Martinez.
To make it neater, because we're actually In fact, you can see the Bank of America right over there. Needs to check on it in case it didn't fall down and go boom or anything. So they had some motels and they got it rid of it finally, to a degree, but it's nothing like it was. This belongs to a gentleman named Jack Hutchins. They call it the Florida White House.
With negotiations for flights between Fort Lauderdale and Barbados complete, the U.S. office has plans for direct flights to Barbados from other airports in the U.S.
I think right now there is a call for a service out of Newark, because out of New Jersey, people generally speaking don't like to come across the bridge to go to JFK, and we've seen that in spite of the fact that we haven't got direct lift out of New Jersey, that people are actually still coming across the bridge and getting on those flights. So I think that there's enough capacity, there's enough demand to warrant having a direct service out of Newark. And the other one that we are seriously looking at is looking at Chicago as a gateway, because that Chicago area actually connects the whole of the Midwest and takes out the complication of flying through either Miami or through New York.
The Ministry of Industry and International Transport welcomes JetBlue's new daily flight from Fort Lauderdale to Barbados. Happy fly-in!